datePicker. This is the new component which comes with Angular Material 10, and in this video we will learn how to use it in your application. Hello guys, my name is Mitch Romzhensky. As you may already know, Angular team released the new 10th version of Angular framework just a few days ago. Unfortunately, this update brings not so many new features. However, there was extended datepicker component which lives in Angular Material library, and now it allows you to pick not just single date, but a range of dates. Subscribe to my channel right now and let's have a look at the new component and how we can use it. Let's get started. Alright, so there is a project which I created a few months ago when I was creating the video series about Angular CDK overlay module. And for exactly this tutorial, it doesn't really matter, but if you are interested, you can find the links to those videos in the tutorial description and check this video out later. Good. But before we start to do something, let's go to the Angular Material official documentation, and then let's find the datepicker page and find the section about date range. And inside this section they say that if we want to use this date range selection, we have to use MatDateRange input and MatDateRange picker components. Sounds easy. So let's go to the code, and we have to first of all we have to do the one thing. We have to update our Angular project because currently we have Angular 9 and we need Angular 10 to be able to use this component. In order to update the Angular project, I need to run ng-update command. This command will analyze my dependencies and will tell me which exactly libraries I have to update. And we can see that it says that I have to update 4 libraries: CDK, CLI, Core, and Material. So I will run then ng-update and list these 4 libraries here and press enter. It will take some time to update, but after successful update, you will see a message similar to what I have. And after this, let's start our project and go to the localhost 4020 and make sure that it's working as it was working before and we didn't break the application. Okay, project was updated, and the second thing we have to do is to go to overlay example module and import the modules which necessary to make our picker work. And there is the 2 modules. The first one is the datepicker module itself, and the second one is actually required by datepicker, and there is 2 options. You can import the native date module as I do, and you have to do this if you want to work with the JavaScript native date object. Or if you're using the moment library, you have to use MatMomentDateModule. I think it's called MatMomentDateModule. I will check one more time and write this into the description to this video. But yeah, then we have to just add these modules into the import section and then go to dialog template, and I will remove this old HTML and add the new one, and it will be some h5 heading which have a text select date range, and then matform field where I will place my date range input, or how it's called. Yeah, exactly. I will copy this date range input and I will place it inside this form field. So, and then we have to add the date range picker itself. I will copy this and place it next to the range input. And now we have to somehow bind together this date range picker and date range input. To achieve this, the range input has the property called range picker, which accepts the reference to the picker itself. And the picker is just a template variable, and it doesn't mean that it should be named exactly picker. You can name it whatever you want. That's completely up to you. Yeah? Just keep in mind that it's a regular variable, nothing else. And at this point, we should see something already in our application. So if I open our dialog, I can see this input is there, but it looks ugly. So let's add some styling to this. So I will increase the width and I will add some padding. And now if we open, we see that it looks much more better. And now I want to add some trigger, or like I want to add the icon at the end of the input. And if user click the icon, user will see the date picker itself. Fortunately, datepicker module provides already this toggle, and you can just pass this datepicker toggle. It will place our icon at the end of the input, and then in property 4 we have to tell which exactly picker to show. All right. So yeah, as I said before, make sure that the names are the same in the range picker and the for property as well. And now if we go to our project and then I will click this icon, we will see that our date picker is there, and we can select the range and everything works fine. So that's the basic implementation of this component, but we will go a little bit further and I will show you how to use it inside the form. So I will create one and just copy our form field and place it inside the form. And because I'm going to use the Angular reactive form, I will create the form group for our form, and I will give the name form for this. And then our date range input is going to be also form group, because you can see that it consists from the two inputs, so from two form controls. That's why it's going to be group. And for these two form controls, I will assign the name. The first one will be form control name start, and the second one will be end. Yeah. And also I will add some button. And when user clicks this button, we will execute on submit function. As easy as that. And now we have to create in TypeScript reactive form and map them with our form controls, which we defined in the template. So let's go to our TypeScript file, and yeah, I will add the empty on submit function so far. And then we have to inject form builder. Make sure that you import this at the top. And then I will create the form property. It's going to be the form group type. After this, in ng on init, we will create the actually form. So this will be group, where will be property date range, and it will be the form group. And inside this form group will be control the start. Yeah, and you remember this start should be the same like this form control name, and this date range is also has the same name like our form group name. And after this, we have to add one more form control. It is the end control. And inside the on submit, I will do just console log, and I will just show the values of these forms. Okay, let's check the template. Everything looks fine. And now we can go to our project. I will open the console, clean it up. And now if we click our icon and select any range and then click select, we can see that there are our values, so our date range there, and we see the values for the end and start form control. And yeah, just keep in mind that here can be your own form control, some additional ones, but for this exactly case, we will keep only our date range control. Good, then let's expose our API and let's see what extra functionality provides these components to us. And we can see the comparisonEnd and comparisonStart properties, and it takes as a parameter null or date. Okay, let's then try it out. Let's see how it will impact our component, and I will add this comparisonStart and comparisonEnd properties, and let's create, here we go, and let's create now these properties in our TypeScript class. So this comparisonStart will be which date is today, 29th. Okay, there will be 2 days before, 27th, and the comparisonEnd will be, I don't know, tomorrow, June 30. And now if we open our dialog again and open our picker, we can see that this range which we defined became some yellow background, and it's somehow you can indicate to user, I don't know, these dates and highlight them like, I don't know, maybe booked or whatever, depends on use case. Good, then let's go back to the documentation. Here is the date filter, and this date filter takes a function as an argument, and the idea behind this is actually to, how to explain it better, it's actually disabling of certain date. Yeah, so, but I will show you it's better to understand when you see this in the action. So there will be function I will call unavailable date, and I will create this function here. And this function will takes the parameter, and this parameter is going to be the date, and it should return some boolean. And where this calendar date comes from, it comes actually from here. If we open our picker, you see these all cells which starts with 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of them, all 30 will go through this function what we define. So this function will be called 30 times, and for every cell we can return some true or false and disable it if it's false or enable if it's true. And let's maybe and in our case, let's maybe disable the all date after tomorrow. Yeah, so today is going to be active and tomorrow it's going to be already inactive. Or we can actually do the opposite to better see this. Now if I click, we see that all dates before tomorrow are disabled. But if we go to, I don't know, to any date after July 13, we can select whatever we want. But if I click on the dates which are before June 30, we can choose nothing because they are deactivated. So that's how this function works, this date filter. What else? Disabled, it's pretty much obvious. Max and min, it's also, that's nothing interesting here. Range picker, that's we already used at the very beginning. So this is where we pass the reference to the picker itself. Then we have required, it's quite obvious as well. Separator, it's quite interesting. So you can define the string which will appear between your two inputs I can change it to this, to something like this. And now if we go to our application, we will see that this string was applied and it looks like this. I don't know. Or even you can replace this with something meaningful like the word end, and there will be start date and end date, whatever, depends on your use case. Okay, and then we can see some public properties which like error state or empty, and we can read them if we access this component via view child. And let's maybe take the name of the class. It should be the name of the class, but with the capital case. Okay, and now we can assign this range input, so we get access to this range input, and we access into the property range input, and it's going to be the type of diet range input, and it looks like a generic, and there will be just date. And then we can work with this object, and this object will be available in after view init hook. So let's implement the interface and implement the method ng after view init. So this hook will be executed once after view is initted, and now we have the reference to this range input, and you can see the whole properties which we see now in this documentation. So here is our focus, and we can even console log it. I will use some VS Code plugin for very fast console log output. Check the video description, I will leave the plugin name there. And now if we go to our browser, and now we can see that our property value for focused is false, which is true because we are not focused at this moment. And there are also some another properties you can find, there are a lot of them. Then next stop is our Datepicker itself. It also has some properties. First one, it's a calendar header component. It's the same as for regular picker, so I will skip it. And the next interesting thing is a dateClass. Actually, it's also a property which takes a function, and we can, well, this function allows us to assign some certain CSS class for some certain cell. You remember how we were disabling some certain cells, and in this case we can just assign some CSS class, and then we can manipulate with the styles, apply some different look and feel, and so on. So yeah, I will implement this cell class. It takes the date and it returns what it returns. It returns MatCalendar cell CSS classes. Well, so long, and let's have a look what inside. So it's either string or array of strings or set string, or it's just object where the key is string and value is any. Okay, so that's clear. I will close the types definition, and yeah, let's return something, and I will return some test cell class, but let's make it more complicated. Let's do the next. So if the date, the bigger than current date, we will return this test cell class. Otherwise, it will test another cell class. Yeah, and that I have to replace with a date, of course. And now if we go to our project and we will reload this, I will, what's wrong? Date class is not a function. Let's have a look what we passed to this. I think we did, yeah, we forgot just pass this function to the property. Okay, now if we open, it works fine, and I open the Elements tab, and now let's find our test cell class. It was applied to June 30, which is fine, and for rest of them should be test another cell, and we can see it here. So that's exactly what we wanted. And once we can attach the class, we can, I don't know, go to, let's say, styles as CSS and apply some background. Let's say it's going to be red, and let's see what happened. By the way, we add to the styles CSS because it's an overlay module and our styles are encapsulated in our component, so we have to add them globally to make them visible for overlay component. But it's okay, just forget about this. Now if we open our picker, we can see the background is red, and this is how works this function. I will remove the background. So yeah, that was dateClass. What else? Disable it. It's obvious. Opened. It's if you want to open immediately the picker, you can define this property as a true, and once we reload, as example, our project, and once we open our dialog, the picker will appear immediately. That's the idea behind this open property. Panel class, it's the same thing like for any overlay module. Yeah, that's nothing special. It will be, this class will be applied to exactly this our picker panel. Somewhere there it will be applied. And yeah, what next? Start date. So it will allow us to open our picker at some specific date. So I will just show you. So let's create the startAt property, and this startAt will be a little bit in the future. It will be 3rd July, okay? And if we open our picker right now, you can see that we already on the July month. Yeah, before it was open on the June, because currently it's 29th of June, and because we changed the startAt, we now open by default the month July. Yeah. Okay, what next? Then start new months year. It's I think it's obvious. And then it goes the XY position. So let's have a look which values it accepts. So the X position takes the start or end, and the Y position takes above or below. So let's try to implement. I will add X position start and Y position to below, and it should, I probably have to zoom out because not enough space at the very bottom. And now, yeah, now it placed below. So good. So yeah, what else? What else? Yeah, here is some outputs, outputs. I don't know, open stream, closed stream, whatever. It's, you can work with this as with regular, I don't know, outputs. It's just like this. There's nothing special. And there are also some properties, methods, which you can access the same way as we did for the date range input. So you can use the view child for this, and you can, I don't know, get reference to range picker like this. So I will change the property name and the class name itself. like this. Okay, and here I have to also adjust. Now after viewing it, we can I don't know, call the open method, and I will remove my open property and I will open this programmatically in ng after viewing it. Let's save it and have a look. Go to project and I open dialog. Something went wrong. Okay, I think I know what can help us, but I cannot tell you right now the reason why this happens, but I'm pretty sure that if we call it asynchronously on the next thread iteration, we will fix this problem. So that's why I will put our open method in setTimeout with the value 0, and now I think it should work. Yeah, it's working fine. So as you can see, and yeah, if you know exactly what the reason of this bug when you open this synchronously, please write in the comments. It would be interesting also for me, because I not always have time to debug such things. Oh yeah. Okay, so did we forget something? I hope no. I think we covered pretty much everything. Everything, I mean, interesting. What else? I don't see anything which worth to discuss right now. I think that was it for today. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you and you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to my channel if you like what I am doing, and please leave your feedback in comment section and let me know what you like, what you didn't like and why, so it would allow me to improve my content and make it more interesting and useful for you. I wish you a productive day and week. Take care and see you in the future.